All right. So there are 4 things that we want to find here as we're looking at each of these problems today. And each of these problems are going to give me a context. And from that context, we're going to either need to identify or find the slope, so the rate of change. What does it mean in real life? The y-intercept, what does it mean in real life? The x-intercept and what it means in real life, and then we're going to write an equation. So I want you guys to look through number 1, and I want you to tell me, just for starters, anything that you think is going to be important so that I can underline it on the screen. Anything that you think is going to be important. You're welcome to unmute your mic or to type it into the chat. Morning, Justice. Read through number 1. We want to identify any information in this space right here that we think is going to be important so that we can answer these questions. Morning, Niles. Niles and Justice, we are jumping right into our activity today. We're going to be looking at some different contexts. We're going to identify or find 4 things about each of these. We're going to find the slope, the x-intercept, and the y-intercept. For those 3 things, we're going to explain exactly what they mean in the context of the problem. And then we're going to use that information and we're going to write an equation. Yes, there's one important piece of information. So Justice and Niles, we're starting off with just telling me what you think would be important in the problem so that I can underline it. And then we'll go in and talk about it. So she filled up her 19-gallon tank. So she filled it up with 19 gallons there. Morning, Trey.
Morning.
I've had your book waiting for you for a couple days, dear.
Oh, my bad. I'm coming in today. You consider that, so I forgot.
No, that's okay. It's here.
Okay.
Yeah, it's outside my room. It's like clipped outside my room so you can pick it up.
Okay.
Yes, there's another important piece of information. 3 gallons per hour. All right, so let's talk about the information that we've got underlined so far. There's a particular word in that last piece that I just underlined that really jumps out at me. She estimated the SUV will use about 3 gallons per hour. Yes, that word per. Why did the per jump out at me? Morning, Jada. What did that per signal? Slope, yes. So I know that I'm going to use this for slope. If she is using 3 gallons, are her gallons going up or down as time goes by? Down. So how would I write the slope? If it's going down, how would I write this?
As a -3, right?
Yes. So our slope is going to be -3. And the real world meaning of that -3. Well, I've got the word use right there already. So she uses what? Oh, Tamari, I love that. We'll get that written down in just a second. But yes, you're absolutely correct. -3 gallons. So she uses, I'm not going to say she uses negative, because she uses is what gives me the negative part, but I love that you picked up on that. Uses 3 gallons. How often? Just the one time? Per hour. There we go. Uses 3 gallons each hour or per hour. All right. 19-gallon tank. And she started off by filling it up. What does that make you think? To prepare for the road trip, she started, I'm putting that word in there, but she filled up her gallon tank. That's what she did at the very beginning. What does that make you think of? We knew the per made us think about slope. If she does this thing to prepare at the beginning before she does anything else, the y-intercept, yes. This is the initial or the starting amount, the y-intercept. How would I write that as an ordered pair? I want to write my y-intercept as an ordered pair. What would that look like? Close. Oh, Cynthia, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Is it 0, 19?
Yes. 0, 19. -3 is our slope. That doesn't ever go into any of our ordered pairs. You could have that number show up in an ordered pair, but the slope isn't part of an x-intercept and a y-intercept. So now I want to know the real world meaning of that. How would I explain the real world meaning of that 0, 19? What would you say? What does the 19 mean in context? We've kind of talked about it, but now I actually want to write it down. Yes. She started her trip with 19 gallons of gas. All right. Since I have the slope and I have the y-intercept, I have enough information to write an equation. I want you to read the last sentence up there really carefully because they tell me what variables they want me to use. What variables are they asking me to use? G and T. And what does the G mean? G is for gasoline. Amount of gasoline is G. And then what does the T mean? Hours. Yes. T is hours. All right, so I want to look at that ordered pair, the y-intercept. Is the 19 hours, T, or gasoline, G? Which one is the 19? 19 is gallons of gasoline. So this is G, which means 0 has to be what? That one has to be hours. That one has to be t. So that gave me some information right there. T is like X in my ordered pair. And so this is my independent variable. And G, because that came second in that ordered pair, that's like Y. That's my dependent variable. Let's jump down to the equation because I have enough information to write the equation in slope-intercept form. But instead of writing the letter Y, what do I want me to use instead? What is my dependent variable called here? G. So instead of Y equals, I'm going to have G equals. And then I need my slope, my M. What is our M? -3. And then I need what would be X. X is my independent variable. What do they want me to use for the independent variable? T, yes. And then last is my y-intercept. What are we going to have at the end? Absolutely correct, Niles. Question. Is it going to be plus 19 or will it be minus 19? Plus 19 or minus 19? Plus. Why plus?
Because she's filling up her gas tank.
She's filling it up. She starts off with a positive amount in her gas tank. You can't really start with negative 19 gallons of gas. That doesn't make any sense. All right, there's only one other thing that we need before we can be done with this problem and move on. What else do we need? We need our x-intercept. Okay, so there's something that I know about the way an x-intercept looks. Tell me how that ordered pair is going to look. My y-intercept was 0 and then 19. 0 is going to go in the y spot. I don't know what goes in the x spot yet, but I know a 0 goes in the y spot. Because anytime we're on the x-axis, that's going to be true. Okay? How can I find this? Is that 0 my independent variable, time, or is it my dependent variable, gas? That is my dependent variable. So this is dependent variable, which is G. And I see this question mark over here. So that's what I'm trying to find. I want to find my independent variable, which is T. How can I use my equation to help me figure out what my x-intercept is? How can I use my equation to help me figure out what my x-intercept is? I am going to use a -3. I've got this whole equation here. I have G equals -3t plus 19.
Could you subtract the 19 on both sides, then divide it by -3?
I will. Yes, that is exactly the process I'm going to do. But before I do that, I have to substitute something in. I need a number in there, or else I'm still going to have two unknown things. Math is really good at finding stuff, but only one thing at a time. So which piece of information do I know on an x-intercept? Do I know my independent variable, or do I know my dependent variable? Sydney, I like that. You put a 0 in there. Where can I put that 0?
The T.
Is 0 my time?
No.
What did we say? Look at that ordered pair.
Oh, the G.
Yeah, we're going to put that in for G. That's my dependent, my G. And so we will sub in for G. So I'm going to put a 0 in the place of the G. And I'm going to recopy the rest of this. And now, Jada, we're going to do exactly what you suggested. We're going to subtract 19 from both sides. That's going to cancel that. That would give me -19 equals -3t. And then you told me we needed to divide after that. So I'm going to divide both sides by -3. Negative divided by a negative, what's going to happen? I'm going to get a positive. What is 19 divided by 3? It doesn't come out pretty, that's okay. Remember, I'm dividing, I'm not adding.
6.3.
6.3, and it's like a repeating, right?
Yes, repeating.
All right, so 6.3 repeating. This right here is my x-intercept, or it's the other part of my x-intercept. I already know that part of it is a 0. So I would have 6.3 repeating, comma, 0. Or 6.3333333. All right, now I want to explain the real world meaning for that. So tell me one more time. The 0, is the 0 gas or time? Zero is gas. So this is G, which means that 6.3 is what? That is our time. And how are we measuring time in this problem again?
Hours.
Hours. Okay, so now I want to take this ordered pair and I want to interpret it in this context. I want to explain what this ordered pair means. 6.3 is my time, my hours, and 0 is my gas. And those two things go together because it makes a single ordered pair, a single point. What in the world does that mean in real life here? In 6.3 hours, you have 0 gallons in your gas tank. That is exactly right. In 6.3 hours, and if you just write 6.3 or 6.33, that's totally fine. In 6.3 hours, she has no gas left. Wonderful. Okay. I want to take this idea that we just did here, and I want to try it with another context. We're going to be finding the same things. We're going to be writing an equation. We're going to be finding our y-intercept and our x-intercept and our slope, and we're going to explain what they mean in real life. Right. I'm getting ready to put that next one up. So if you need to grab a quick screenshot, go ahead. All right, here it comes. Okay. So I have a new context. Instead of telling me any numbers in the paragraph part, what did they do instead? Instead of telling me any numbers in the paragraph part, they gave me my variables, yes. And then they gave me a table. They gave me a table with numbers in it. Somehow I'm supposed to use this table to come up with the numbers for the slope, the y-intercept, and the x-intercept. And they gave me the variables that they want me to use right here. They want me to use B for balance, and they want me to use M for months. Looking at the table, since I have that to kind of go off of here, what do they want my independent variable to be? What do they want the X variable to be? Do they want it to be M for months or B for balance? Which one would be like the X? Which one is the independent? Yes. Number of months. This is my independent variable right here. And so that means balance is like my Y. That's my dependent variable. You guys know what balance means if I'm talking about a bank account? Can anybody tell me what balance means?
Amount of money you have.
Yes. Balance would be amount of money, and I'll make that smaller so that I'm not covering up those numbers. How can I use this table to help me figure out the slope? What is slope? If I'm looking at a graph, I would describe slope as what over what?
Rise over run.
Yes. Slope is rise over run, or the other way that we've talked about that is the change in the y values divided by the change in the x values. So if I look at just 2 points at a time, like if I look at just these two, I need how much the y's, the bottom, are changing first. So to go from 255 to 365, did it get bigger or smaller? I'm going to change my color here. From 255 to 365, did we get bigger or did we get smaller? Bigger. Bigger by how much? $110. So I would put that in my numerator, 110. And at the same time that the y's changed by 110, how much did the x's change by? 2. Bigger or smaller? Bigger. So that would be a +2. So I'm going to put a 2 in my denominator. All right, Now I'm going to look at 2 more points. Let's look at these 2. From 365 to 530. Because remember, I want to look at the y's first. That's my rise. Bigger or smaller, and by how much? Bigger. How much did it get bigger by? Jalen, I think you're looking at the x's, but you're absolutely correct. 165 on the y's, so that goes in my numerator. And the x's went from 3 to 6, so that got bigger by 3. As long as things are getting bigger, we are positive there. Great. Grab your calculators for me. 110 divided by 2. What is that when I reduce it? What is 110 divided by 2? 55. Thank you, Niles. What is 165 divided by 3? 55. These are constant. This is my constant rate of change. So what is my slope? My slope is 55, yes. What is the real world meaning of that? 55 what? Puppies, kittens, sweaters, dollars, months, hours. Balance. Balance is the money in my account. So is it getting bigger or smaller by 55? Since I have a positive 55, is it getting bigger or smaller? Bigger. So Roberto adds or deposits $55 just one time. He just put $5 in the account once and then walks away and he's done.
Each month.
Each month, yeah. And we had that up here, each month. Awesome. All right. We need to figure out our y-intercept. Y-intercept, what will always be the same on my y-intercept? What do I know is going to stay the same? 0. 0 is going to go where? Left or right part of the ordered pair? X spot or Y spot? 0 in the left. We don't know what's going to go over here. Last time they told me in the problem what the starting amount was. This time I don't have that. There's a couple things that we could do to try to figure this out. You could look at the table and say, well, if it's getting bigger by 55 as I move to the right, that means it would have to get smaller by 55 as I move to the left. Here's what I like to do though. I'm going to use my slope intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. We just figured out that our slope is how much? 55. So I know that this is y equals 55x plus B, I have a whole table full of XY pairs, months and balance. Let's pick one of the ordered pairs off the table and we'll substitute it in. We've got 3 ordered pairs to choose from. There's 1, 255, there's 3, 365, or there's 6, 530. Which ordered pair off the table do you guys want to use? We can pick the first one, the middle one, or the last one.
First one.
First one sounds good. Okay, so we're going to use this right here. And we're going to sub it in. What number should I put in for Y? Oh, sorry, I saw the other answers show up in the chat. You guys can do that and you'll get the exact same answer. Jada, that's correct. We're going to put the 255 in the place of Y. Is equal to 55, and then I'm going to make a substitution in for X. What am I putting in for X?
One.
1. I have to sub in for both X and Y. Because math can only find one thing at a time. And now I only have one thing that I'm looking for, which is B. So now I'm going to simplify this and I'm going to find B, which is my y-intercept. What would I do first? Oh, I'm really sorry, Trey. What would I need to do first?
Multiply 55 and 1.
Yes. I'm going to multiply these two together. That'll give me 55. And then what next? Subtract. What am I subtracting? 255 minus 55. And so that means B, my y-intercept, is how much? 200. There we go. So that's the other part of my ordered pair. So now I can come back here and I can say 0, 200. Zero months or balance? Because we're talking about months and balance, M and B. Is the 0 months or is the 0 balance? And he's gone again. Look up at our table. What did we say? The thing in the X spot should be what? My independent variable is months. Yes. So this is M for months, which means 200 is what? $200 is the balance, B. So now I want to take this and I want to explain it in its real world meaning. How can I take this ordered pair of 0, 200 and explain what it means for Roberto and his savings account, or sorry, checking account. What does this mean for Roberto? Months is 0, 200 is the balance. So how do I take that? I know that these go together because they make an ordered pair. Ooh, Tamari, I like that. I'd probably just tweak it just a little bit. So I'm going to start writing down what you have. Roberto had $200. When did he have $200?
Before he started depositing 55 each month.
Yes. So I could say before he started depositing, or that he had $200 at the beginning. Or when he opened the account. Or I could say that he had an initial deposit of $200. All right, there's 2 more things that we need to fill in here. X-intercept and equation. Do I have enough information to just write down one of those? Do I have enough information at this point that I can just write down one of those without having to like find it? Okay. Which one can I write down? The x-intercept or the equation? Which one do I have enough information that we can just write it down? The equation. Awesome sauce. Okay, so I know my equation has to have the basic form of y equals mx plus b. Y is my dependent variable. What are we going to use for the dependent variable instead of the letter y? B. So I have b equals m is the slope. What are we going to put in for the slope? 55. Then I need my independent variable. What are we going to put in for our independent variable? Months, M, yes. And then last but not least, I need my y-intercept. What are we going to put for the y-intercept? Plus 200. Tamari, I love that you put the plus on there. You already knew my question. Needs to be a plus 200. Why is it plus 200 and not minus 200?
$200 is the initial amount.
The initial amount. He didn't start off in debt. He started off by putting this money in. He already had it. All right. We need our x-intercept yet. What do you guys know will always be the case on an x-intercept? What will always stay the same whenever we're talking about an x-intercept? Y is going to be 0. We don't know what the x part is. So what can I do with this 0 then and my equation?
Would you substitute it in for B?
Yes. We are going to sub in for capital B, my dependent variable. All right, so our equation was B equals 55M plus 200. So 0 equals 55M plus 200. Where to from here? Minus 200 from both sides. Cool beans. All right, so I have negative 200 equals 55M. What next?
Divide 55 from both sides.
Divide 55 from both sides. And that tells me then that M is what?
Months.
What do we get? You can round it out to 2 decimal places if you want. What do we get? There we go. Negative 3.636. And it keeps on going after that, but we can round it out. That's okay. So negative 3.636 and then 0. What does that mean? What does that mean in a real world context here? Yes, you can put negative 0.6 or negative 3.64. Absolutely. It's not my slope. Slope was up at the top. This is my x-intercept. Think about that ordered pair. Which thing comes first, the months or the balance? What is this? Is that months or is that balance? That is months. So that means this would be balance. So how could I interpret this? Would it make sense to have negative months here? Not really. This is one of those situations where the real world meaning kind of breaks down. So at negative 3.64 months, he had $0 in his account. Doesn't really make sense. In our context. Come back to this. Come to school tomorrow. Okay, so here's the thing about tomorrow. Let me fill you in real quick on that, and then I'm going to tell you about an extra credit opportunity. For freshmen and seniors, if we go virtual tomorrow and Friday, freshmen and seniors are supposed to come and pick up their books tomorrow. Sophomores and juniors would come on Friday. I don't know yet because the district hasn't said whether we're going to be virtual tomorrow or not. But either way, whether we are virtual or whether we're actually having normal school in person, you guys will need to come into the building. If it is normal in person, cool, that'll be awesome. I get to see you guys face to face. If not, make a plan to come in and pick up your books tomorrow. So either way, come see me. I'm in room E107. The other thing real quick, your extra credit opportunity. You guys have a homework assignment that's due for tomorrow. I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of time to work on it beyond just that, but it's called More Modeling with Functions. There are several questions in here that say bonus. If you answer the bonus part of the question, you can earn extra credit points for each of those that you answer. So get in there, look at that one. And if you want the extra credit, you can answer the bonus parts of the questions there. All right, guys, if you have any questions, please let me know. I'm sorry I held on to you for an extra couple minutes. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Please let me know if you need anything at all. Have a good one, everybody.
See you, Miss Boat. Have a good day.
You as well, Niles.